On October 21st and 22nd, join indie podcasters from all around the world at the 5th Annual Afros and Audio Podcast Festival, the first 2-day conference for and by Black indie podcast creatives and audio professionals. This year's conference will be held at the Reginald F. Lewis Museum in downtown Baltimore, Maryland, or virtually on the Hoover Event app for exclusive online sessions. Stay with us at the Renaissance Harbor Place Hotel and experience 2 days of panels, workshops, networking opportunities, and live entertainment for aspiring, new, and established podcast creatives. Don't miss one of the most anticipated events in the podcast industry, committed to community and collaboration since 2019. Learn more and purchase your tickets at afrosandaudio.com. See you there.
Welcome back to another episode of Q Points Podcast. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is J. Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. Good evening, folks. My hands have already arrived.
The speaking hands are already there. The J. Ray hands are in effect. We are Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. And let's check on in with each other. J. Ray, how are you feeling? What's the deal?
You know, I'm feeling real good. The weather has been still really nice here, so that's been cool to just it not be too hot, not be too cool. It's just kind of, I'm into it. It's also been incredibly busy. So not only do we have all of our Q Points activity, I have a bunch of work activity, but I'm learning a lot in all of the areas. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I'm feeling good. How are you feeling and doing?
I am going to echo everything you said. Sustained busy this morning. I kept hearing the word discipline, and knowing that because we have so much on our plate, we've got a lot of great stuff coming our way that we've worked for. We just got to stay disciplined and keep on making it happen. Because yes, I'm getting everything done. I need to schedule a haircut big time, because I feel like I just got one and it's time to get one again, because we got a nice little gig coming up on Saturday. If you're in Atlanta, come through the Crates and Crafts, and I like to be a little presentable when I'm out in the public and whatnot, spinning the records and whatnot. A few points that were made by some people that we respect in this culture, specifically journalists, about hip hop as a culture, as the leading Black culture in this world right now. And the question we came up with was Nas right? On this 50th anniversary, is hip hop dead as we knew it? So we got to talking about that, and recently it was Dream Hampton. And Dream Hampton has been in the zeitgeist again because she is part of that wonderful, wonderful documentary, producing that documentary that's on Netflix, Ladies First. If you have not seen it, I implore you, please watch that. It is a dope documentary, and it's not just about who your faves are and their looks and all that. There are some very serious issues that were dealt with in that documentary, including the fact that she was asked, in a recent article, she was asked, do you believe that hip hop is revolutionary, and was it ever? And she made a response to kind of put it in a nutshell. What she said, she was like, no. Hip hop hasn't done anything revolutionary. And the reason she said it is because she said, if there are still people within the hip hop culture that are marginalized, okay, people that aren't benefiting from the culture like they should, as much as, based on their contributions. But if there is still sexism, homophobia, misogyny, all of those things, then hip hop absolutely cannot be revolutionary. And so we were just kicking it around. We were like, why, yo, you can't be revolutionary with broken gender politics. You can't be revolutionary with homophobia, blah, blah, blah. So we were thinking, that's a pretty heavy statement. And we sat with that.
Mm-hmm.
And we sat with it, and it was like, you know what? Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Let me go ahead and actually read the quote that she said.
Okay.
Can I do that? Should I do that, Jerry?
Yeah.
She said, you can't be a revolutionary with broken gender politics. You can't be a revolutionary and be homophobic. And this is before we even get to capitalism. To be homophobic, transphobic, and misogynist? No, you're not a revolutionary. You're not even a radical. You're actually quite the status quo. What it was a radical sound, and that's not even true anymore. And we sat with that for a minute because it was like,
Like,
ouch.
ouch.
That was a big ouch.
Yeah. When I heard that very last sentence, I immediately thought of, I just went to the bomb squad like immediately, and how when I fell in love with hip hop, the sound of this music, the sounds of the voices, the messages that were in the music made me feel more powerful. But when you really peel back the layers, like Dream has done in this answer, all of those other things were still present, right? And the
Yeah.
people who were making that music and making those sounds and writing those rhymes, many of them, not all of them, but many of them were holding these particular issues and bringing them with them into the music. So it was like, damn, that made me think, because I'm like, we lifted up our culture as great and what is something to aspire to, right? But we did not reckon with, and still haven't reckoned with, all of these issues that exist. And so at 50, to still be all of these things that Dream is talking about, that's kind of wild. That's wild. Because this was, I put it so much higher. And so yeah, this did make me really sit and just kind of, I was just like, damn.
Yeah, you talk about the air being let out of your balloon, because it was like, oh, we were having fun. We were just having a good time looking at all the performances, all the festivals, the shows, the new pictures of people looking great, and say, oh, such and such still looks good. They sound good. But, we're getting into that part of it, and we get caught up in it. And then Dream gives us a serious reality check and was like, this shit ain't revolutionary. And the reason why it's not is because this, and this. And Jerry, for you personally, like, how would you define revolutionary? What would it look like for hip hop to actually be revolutionary? Have you thought about that?
I have thought about that. And I think I'm going to say this, and it's grating at me, because we live in a society where money matters. I honestly think in order for something to be revolutionary, right? It has to be rooted in people and truth, and not rooted in capitalism and assimilation. Um And unfortunately, hip hop immediately, I mean, as quick as it could get there, which makes sense, right? It's the thing that capitalism does. Oh my God, this is great. This is new. I could sell it. And then you have people within the culture that's like, I am willing to sell that, right? So that I can make money, right? So I think that's how I would define it. I think it just needs to be like rooted in like people and like community and like really just kind of making life better, much more socialist than anything else, I think. And rejecting capitalism. Mind you, I'm saying all of this and I know that that's not the way our world is set up. So I'm holding both things. I'm just saying what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the answer. And that's what it would look like to me. What would it look like to you?
You know, I really am building off of what you just said. I think in order for hip hop to have been or to be truly revolutionary, hip hop would have dismantled the system that it was born out of.
Yep.
You know, hip hop would have dismantled systematic racism, systematic poverty. It would have eradicated that, but we're still here. We're still at the saddest demonstration of that to me is how the son of a very famous rapper can think that it's okay for him to take money and some clothes and like get and toss it out to random homeless people and film himself doing that, thinking that he's doing something good, but it's really to promote something that he's doing. That's what hip hop has played into.
Yeah.
If hip hop had really been revolutionary, that rapper's child would not even have poor people to go out there to exploit like that.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. It wouldn't even, there wouldn't be a question of like these young ladies wouldn't be criticized for talking about their body parts, you know, or criticized for calling it P-rap, you know. If hip hop had really changed patriarchy, then the sisters would, you know, not feel like this is the only way that I can get into this game. This is the only way that I can make you listen and pay attention to what I'm saying, is because you don't want to hear what I'm saying anyway, because you don't think my voice is valuable enough, because the world has told you that white men are first, then comes white women, then you, because you feel like black men, you feel like you're a step above me, that my voice doesn't matter. So in order for me to make you pay attention, yeah, I got to get 40 inches. I got to come out in a bra. I got to get, you know, I have to have my body amplified to look like an ant. You know, I've got to do all of these things to get your attention, to listen to me. I have, and now I have to be even more outlandish within each cycle, you know. Now it's just like my coochie pink and my booty hole brown. That's gonna make you listen to me, so I'm gonna say it. And I gotta say it because this was making me rich, because I come from poverty, because hip hop hasn't changed any of that. There's still that system there.
And I mean, not just that too. Yes, all of that, and the fact that we've gotten to a point where folks don't even got much more. They don't even know what to rap about, because the way that our education system has regressed, the reason when the music sounds the way it sounds, these kids ain't learning how to play no instruments nowhere. They ain't learning nothing about that. folks aren't reading the same way that they used to read. So how many
They're not
words?
writing.
They're not writing. So what's your
They don't know how to write
vocabulary given?
cursive.
Nope.
None of that
So
stuff.
there's all of this stuff that are all systemic things that I absolutely agree with you. Like, if hip hop was revolutionary, right? It would have dismantled the systems that were trying to make it a commercial thing in the first place, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how that would have been done. I think I asked you this question, Sir Daniel, of what if the great Sylvia Robinson, who figured out how to do this on a mainstream scale. What if Miss Sylvia Robinson, what if those artists never, what if Sugar Hill just never was able to get off the ground because the artists were like, no. Or were like, I'm not signing this contract though. Here's what I'm going to sign this. I'm not going to do it. And you just couldn't get it through. So honestly, with the way the world is set up, this was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Listen, the world loves selling revolution. It's a moneymaker. It is why Black Lives Matter got as big as it did. You know what I'm saying? It just loves selling a revolution. It's just a lucrative thing to do. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I mean, hip hop is a beautiful thing. And I think the next question that we'll ask, we'll get to that. But hip hop just was like, listen, we gonna sell this thing. Let's make this coin.
So, okay, just to piggyback off of what you said, when we spoke about Sylvia Robinson, we also said, what if Sylvia Robinson, like you said, did not impose upon those young people the same thing that was imposed upon her as a recording artist that has been going on? What if Pebbles and L.A. Reid and Babyface really protected TLC from all those pitfalls in their contracts? What if Diddy, after he learned what Andre Harrell had been going through and saw all of that and saw what had happened to all the artists and saw people that he called his friends going through that, what if he said, you know what, if I start my record label, I'm gonna be on the up and up, and this is going to be a community. We're gonna have community here. We're all gonna share in these in this influx, in this increase of revenue that's coming because we make great music. What if they had done that? What if we had not imposed the same systematic racism and patriarchy on our own people that we are signing to these awful ass contracts that have been handed down from generation to generation? It's still going on. It's the worst pyramid scheme ever.
It is. And I think that is absolutely it. I think that would have changed so much. We saw and we've seen it over time so many times. Like, all of them Motown artists having to like renegotiate their contracts because the people were writing the contracts the way we were doing the business, the way the white folks did to us. And at some point we need to say, no, that's not who we are, and that's not who we want to be. And we can all eat. We can all eat. There is enough to go around. And if we had taken that approach, if we teach that approach, so for folks listening to the show, if we can teach that, man, there would have been so many. Sir Daniel, when we think of all the artists who just couldn't make it work, like they couldn't make it work for them. I ended up watching a YouTube video about Sister Vesta today, and I'm like, damn, all of this talent, but was being taken advantage of. I'm thinking of our brother, poor kid Creole from the Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, was living, was working as a security guard, was part of a legendary group, and is now in prison for this heinous crime, right? Like, people's lives could have been better.
Much better.
There are two types of people in the world: those who complain about the state of today's music, and those who dig. I'm Jason Randall Smith, and I invite you to check out Radio BSOTS, Both Sides of the Surface, a music podcast championing the work of independent artists from around the way to around the world. With a primary focus on Creative Commons licensed music, think of this show as a never-ending virtual crate dig through a parallel universe of online labels, seeking out the hip-hop, soul, jazz, funk, and electronic music gems that are often hiding in plain sight, and hopefully demystifying the world of Creative Commons along the way, one song at a time. You can find Radio BSOTS wherever you listen to podcasts. For more information, visit the website at bsots.com. That's BSOTS.com.
Giving people the credit that they're due. You wouldn't have a talent like an Angie Stone, who, if it weren't for her being so versatile, if she had just stuck with just the hip hop game, we would never have heard from her again. But her talent, her gifts were being cloned and used without permission, and they weren't even trying to compensate her. Nope. But now, luckily she spoke up for herself. Yeah. But that's it, J. Ray. That's the revolution right there. If hip hop, which equates to is a microcosm of the Black community, if we had in our own special way gave an example to the rest of the world of how we wanted to be treated by treating each other the way that's right, and not doing what was imposed upon us to each other, that would be the real revolution.
That's so powerful. That makes me think of something that happened just with Q Points today. When we were getting on, I was telling Sir Daniel there was a person kind of in the podcast universe that's like, yo, I want to do this thing and promote this thing. Don't worry about the money. And I'm just like, well, we want to. He's like, there'll be future opportunities for that. I just want to support y'all. And Matt, oh wow, and I'm just grateful for someone seeing us, because we know that we see people too, right?
Right.
Just that trickling down. And Mark said, first of all, thank you so much to Mark and Carlton in the chat for just like waxing poetic. And Carlton said, it's a no-go for him. Hip hop is tainted to him. Mark is saying, when we know better, we should be doing better and not maintain the same status quo. There are too many Black artists, despite the fame, who are literally living in poverty. And Mark, to go a step further, there are some who don't got no money to their name and they don't even know. You know what I'm saying? There are folks who are living real high right now and don't realize that that's not even their money. So we have to do better. So, Sir Daniel, here's this question. So, from your perspective, do you believe that hip hop is dead? And if so, why? If not, why not?
Well, even if we took it as took it, dissected it as one an art form and the other as a state of being, a culture, it's not dead, but it's mutated. It's mutated into something that's not necessarily pretty. Um, it's like we know what it is, but it's like that ain't really it anymore. Something's changed about this recipe. And yes, people can say we're jaded, that we need to embrace this and that. What we need to embrace, or what we could embrace, are what we spoke about this whole episode, which is not doing what the oppressor did to us, embracing a new mindset. So as far as hip hop being dead, it's not, it's on life. No, it's not even on life support. I think it just needs a transplant. It needs a heart transplant. It needs a heart transplant. It needs, and I know this sounds so esoteric and just so highfalutin and whatnot, but it needs humanity again. Oh, there was a somebody on Instagram that scrolling through was talking about hip hop and what it's become. And I thought they made a very good point that in the beginning, there were four pillars, 4 pillars of hip hop. And in those 4 pillars, it was kind of like a covenant that the community made. And if for all of you that don't know, a covenant is a promise between 2 or more people, that they're pledging to do this or to work towards a goal that they've established, right? Or whatever promises they've made to each other. So he reminded me that the 4 pillars were peace, unity, love, and having fun. Now, if you're familiar, that was from a African Bambaataa song. I think it was actually called Peace, Unity, Love, and Having Fun. And I thought about it. I was like, well, I don't know if those are the real pillars, but hey, but it made sense. If that's what we established as the covenant, we've strayed away from it for real. Because if you think about it, we're having a lot of fun. The kids are having a blast. Their brains are on another planet right now. They're putting all their money up their nose. They've got access to money that a lot of people before them didn't have. So yeah, they're having the fun part. But as far as the peace and the unity and the love, those have been completely ignored and extracted from hip hop. So when I say hip hop needs a heart transplant, it like for sure needs a humanity transplant. The humanity needs to be cracked open, and a brand new heart of humanity needs to be stuffed into hip hop that could matriculate and to trickle out to the rest of the community and then to the rest of the world.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I also don't think hip hop is dead. I think it looks really different. The culture, well, I mean, the reality is hip hop is the culture, right? Hip hop is world culture now, right? There is nowhere that you can go in the world that hip hop hasn't touched. That is wow. Okay, let's just hold that for a minute. That is a lot of power when you think about it. This party in the Bronx has birthed a culture that there is no place in the world that you can go that it has not touched in some way. That is amazing, right? So the way hip hop is set up now looks different. It feels different. To Carlton's point, at least from a mainstream standpoint, it doesn't feel the same. Like that love piece is missing. I also want to go back to our original conversation because I also think the thing that will transcend and take hip hop into the future is wrestling with, dealing with, and not tolerating all the things that Dream talked about: homophobia, transphobia, misogyny, all of those things. If us as members of the culture say, you know what, we're going to take this unity thing that's in these pillars, and we're going to really stand on that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because we are going to come together and figure this out because we can. We've already infiltrated the entire world, right? So now that we've done that, let's make the world the place that we want it to be. And that's going to be best for our families and our children in the future. So yeah, no, I don't think it's dead. I am essentially agreeing with Sir Daniel. I think it just needs a transplant. Like, I think, and not only a transplant, like Dream said a word here. It's like we've been fed a bunch of baloney. A bunch of baloney. It's not, and it has never really been. It was a revolutionary sound. And now it's not even that. So what you got?
What's next? What you gonna do next? And here's another thing. If y'all really want hip hop not to die, we've got to get control of it, because pretty soon it's gonna be all K-pop. It's gonna be K-hip hop at some point. There are going to be clones of people who are literally taking Black culture and putting their spin on it. And they've spun it around so much that they've extracted all the Black out of it. So you got K-pop, you got, I don't know, did you see the Asians strolling?
I've seen that. There's also some show in some country, I don't know which country it is, but that basically had like a bunch of non-Black folks in blackface doing like hip hop stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. But part of that is because some people that were in power sold it.
Yep.
Sold it off. So yeah. So that's what we're faced with. That's what we're being faced with. So there's some decisions to be made, and I don't know, J. Ray. That's why we like to celebrate how we celebrate on Q Points. Yeah, we talk about the glory days a lot, but we do that in hopes that you're inspired. You know, right now we're hoping that somebody is a burgeoning artist is inspired by the glory days, by something that was mentioned on Q Points, and says, you know what, I want to recreate that feeling.
Yeah.
I want to make an impact like that artist, and this is what it's going to take. So that's all. That's what we got.
That's what we got. Yo, wow. Yeah. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us and participating in this conversation that I feel like is important. One of the things that both Sir Daniel and I noticed during all of these 50th anniversary sessions, and this was very glaring, is we're celebrating the history, but hip hop is happening now. And so a lot of the newer artists aren't even in the conversation. You know what's wild, Sir Daniel? I was, I'm a Lil Sims fan. Lil Sims has not been mentioned. I don't know that Lil Sims has been at a hip hop 50 event. I don't know that. And I'm like, that girl is out here snapping on these records. These records are stellar works of art. How is this artist not in the conversation? But she's part of the new generation. I don't see a lot of them part of the conversation.
I don't know. They did have some new people. They had A Boogie with the hoodie.
I like a boogie with the hoodie from Philly.
One of the Sway Lee.
Mm-hmm.
They had some of those younger cats that were part of it. So they did try. They tried that night. But again, I don't know if they give a damn. That's the part.
Yo, so fun story as we wind down. And you know what? I went and I checked this. A Boogie with the Hoodie is not from Philly. I don't know why I thought A Boogie with the Hoodie was from Philly. I said it out my
right?
Yeah. I said it out my mouth and I'm like, that's not true. So I looked it up real quick. But I asked my cousin. So this is a question to folks that are in the chat and folks that are listening to the show or watching the show after. The question I asked them is, why aren't the new people, in this conversation? Why aren't the new people being celebrated? And my cousins literally was like, why would they be? No one, this is two. These are Gen Xers, one older Gen Xer and one older millennial and one younger millennial. And they both said, why would they be? No one wants to see them. And I was like, damn, word? And they would say it with their whole chest, like, I don't want to see this mess. So no, they shouldn't be celebrating 50 years of hip hop.
Yeah. And, again, we could talk about respectability, politics, but there's just, I don't know, there's an unlikability to quite a few artists, a few of the main heads of the culture right now. There's an unlikability. There's and I don't know, maybe it's us as we're getting older, we're kind of like, oh, you're doing too much. But even when we were growing up, somebody said we were doing too much. So I don't know. Is it right? Is it wrong? That's the thing. I don't know. It's a taste level. Your tastes change and develop as you get older. So a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing now, I'm just like, and I'm no prude, but a lot of the stuff I'm just like, that's not really appropriate.
Yeah. I was just surprised more than anything. I mean, we grew up, we not grew up with, but he was in our universe when we were children. But we grew up with Lil Richard, who was like the king of doing too much. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
It's interesting. Like, I just didn't.
But his too much was pushing against a norm, was
True.
pushing against oppression.
Yeah.
A lot of the too much that we're seeing now is, I just want to be seen and I want a viral moment.
Oh, now you speaking. Yeah.
So there's a difference. So
there's a difference. Wow, y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with
them know how they
Points.
can keep up with us, J. Ray.
Yeah.
Let them know, God. Let them know, son.
So listen, y'all are already doing the most amazing thing, and that is tuning into Q Points. So wherever you are listening or wherever you are watching, subscribe. And do us a solid. Tell your friends and your family about Q Points. It's free. It's the easiest free promotion that we can get as a show. You can also go ahead for free and join our mailing list at magazine.qpoints.com. And that's a great way to stay kind of in touch with us and get some behind the scenes information. And you can subscribe on our website at qpoints.com and click the subscribe button, as well as shop our store.
And that's really it, folks. What do I always say? In this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
My name is J. Ray, y'all.
And this has been Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. We'll see you on the next go round. Peace.
Peace.